For 90 years, the Masters tournament has been a tradition unlike any other. The azaleas, the roars, the green jacket, and the rules that almost never changed. But on one quiet Tuesday morning, just days before the first tee shot, Augusta National dropped a bombshell that sent the entire golf world into absolute chaos. A rule change that nobody saw coming. A decision that could reshape the game at the highest level forever, and a message delivered to every single player in the field. The Green Jackets are watching. The email arrived at 10:47 inches the morning on a Tuesday. No warning, no leaks, just a short statement from Augusta National Golf Club bearing the signature of Chairman Fred Ridley. The subject line was simple: Masters Tournament announces competition updates. The golf world stopped breathing. Throughout its history, the Masters Tournament has been guided by one simple principle, the statement read. The competition should be decided by skill, strategy, and nerve, not by the interpretation of obscure rules, not by the exploitation of loopholes. To preserve the integrity of this championship, the tournament committee has approved the following changes, effective immediately. The list was short, but its impact was enormous. First, a clarification of Rule 15.2, which governs movable obstructions. The new language made it crystal clear that directional signs, grandstands, and other tournament infrastructure are not considered movable, even if they are not permanently fixed to the ground. Any player who moves such objects will receive a two-stroke penalty. No exceptions. Second, a new restriction on practice rounds. Players will now be limited to just 5 visits to Augusta National before tournament week begins, with a maximum of 2 practice rounds per day during the tournament itself. Violations will result in fines starting at $50,000 per incident. Third, and perhaps most specifically targeted, a complete ban on testing the surface of bunkers during practice rounds. Any player found to be intentionally studying sand conditions will face a 2-stroke penalty during competition. And then came the final warning, the one that sent shockwaves through every locker room in professional golf. The Masters Tournament Committee reserves the right to enforce these rules as it sees fit. Players who violate the spirit of the competition, even in the absence of a specific rule violation, may be subject to disciplinary action, including fines or disqualification. The golf world erupted. Social media exploded. Players scrambled to understand the implications. And one man instantly became the most talked about player in the entire field, Bryson DeChambeau. This is about one person, an anonymous player said. Let's be honest, everyone knows this is about Bryson. DeChambeau's camp declined to comment, but his history with Augusta National was well documented and impossible to ignore. The signpost incident in 2024, the excessive practice rounds back in 2016. The TV tower relief controversy. The bunker testing. Each incident on its own might have been forgiven, but together they formed a pattern that the Green Jackets could no longer look away from. The Masters is different, Fred Ridley said in a follow-up interview. We don't have to follow the PGA Tour's rules. We don't have to follow anyone's rules. We make our own, and we expect every player to respect that. Let's go back to 2024, because that signpost moment was where everything truly began to shift. DeChambeau was playing the 13th hole when he moved a directional signpost that was sitting in his line, clearing a path that allowed him to play his shot up the adjacent 14th fairway. Was it legal? Yes. Was it within the rules as they existed? Technically, absolutely, but the optics were devastating. The look on Augusta National's face, metaphorically speaking, was one of cold and quiet fury. The new rule closes that door permanently. Directional signs, grandstands, TV towers, and all other tournament infrastructure are now classified as immovable, regardless of whether they are bolted into the ground. Move them, and you pay the price. The intent of Rule 15.2 was never to allow players to alter the course itself, the committee wrote. These changes ensure that the competition is decided by skill, not by the manipulation of tournament infrastructure. Now let's talk about the practice rounds restriction, because this one has a history that goes all the way back to 2016. DeChambeau was competing as an amateur that year, and according to reports, he played Augusta National up to 12 times before the tournament even began. 12 times. The practice clearly paid off. He made the cut and earned low amateur honors. But behind the scenes, the Augusta National establishment was not pleased. A decade later, that frustration has finally been written into official policy. 5 visits maximum before tournament week, 2 practice rounds per day maximum during the tournament, $50,000 per violation. It's not about punishing anyone, Ridley insisted. It's about preserving the integrity of the competition. The Masters should be about who plays best during tournament week, not about who logs the most preparation hours on the premises. And then there is the bunker rule, perhaps the most specific and surgically targeted change of all three. During a practice round before the 2026 Masters, DeChambeau was observed testing the surface of a bunker in a manner the committee deemed excessive, not illegal under the existing rules, but excessive. And Augusta National noticed. The new rule makes it explicitly prohibited. Any player found intentionally improving their understanding of sand conditions faces a two-stroke penalty during the actual competition. The reactions from around the golf world came fast. Rory McIlroy was direct. I think it's a good thing. The Masters is supposed to be about the best players competing on a level playing field. These changes help make sure that's what actually happens. Scottie Scheffler, the world #1, was more measured. I'm not going to comment on the past. I'm focused on my own game, but I trust the committee to make the right decisions. Jon Rahm kept it diplomatic. Every tournament has its own rules. Augusta's no different. We all know what we're signing up for when we come here. Phil Mickelson, watching from home, was characteristically blunt. It's about time. The game has been waiting for someone to take a stand. Augusta just did. And DeChambeau himself? His lawyer issued a brief statement. Bryson respects the Masters tournament and its rules. He is reviewing the changes and will comply fully. But the fans were deeply divided. This is a witch hunt, one fan wrote online. They're changing the rules because one player was smarter than everyone else and they couldn't handle it. Another fired back. Bryson has been pushing the limits for a decade. He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew there would eventually be consequences. This is entirely on him. The hashtag Masters rules trended for hours. Now here is the part that has players most unsettled, and honestly, it is the part that deserves the most attention. That final clause in the statement, the one that gives the committee the authority to penalize players for violating the spirit of the competition, even when no specific written rule has been broken. That is unprecedented language, and it is enormously powerful. It's a power grab, one anonymous player admitted quietly. They're giving themselves the authority to do whatever they want, whenever they want, based on whatever they decide the spirit of the competition means that day. But Augusta National was completely unmoved by the criticism. The tournament has operated this way for 90 years. The Green Jackets make the rules. The players follow them. Anyone who does not like it is welcome to stay home. The Masters is bigger than any player, Ridley said. It always has been. It always will be. For Bryson DeChambeau, this is a personal crossroads. He has built his entire career on pushing boundaries, on testing limits, on finding the edges that everyone else walked past without seeing. Now those edges have been smoothed. The loopholes have been closed. The game has changed around him. But DeChambeau, to his credit, has never been someone who folds under pressure. I'm not going to let this distract me, he said. I came here to win. That's all that matters. The 2026 Masters is underway. The leaderboard is packed. The green jacket is waiting. And Bryson DeChambeau, the man who pushed Augusta National further than anyone ever had before, is still in the hunt. The question that everyone in the golf world is now asking is simple and impossible to ignore. Can he win without his edges? The green jackets are watching, and the Masters will never be the same. If you want more coverage of the biggest stories in golf, subscribe now and hit the notification bell so you never miss a thing.